The fall of 1979, a pretty girl from Beresford named Robin Lindblom headed up to South Dakota State University in Brookings to become a nurse. She was serious about her studies, and she met the demands of the nursing major. Robin completed the requirements for a Bachelor of Science in Nursing and graduated from SDSU in 1983. She took the National Council of State Boards of Nursing licensing exam and passed to earn the title of registered nurse. She is an RN. She didn't just earn a degree at SDSU. She met the love of her life, John Brown. Robin and John married, and in the early years, Robin worked as a registered nurse in acute care hospitals and in long-term care, where she led the nursing team in caring for patients. Robin's leadership abilities were noticed early. She earned a Master of Science in Nursing and joined the work of educating future nurses. Robin directed and led a unique 1+1 education program offered by two educational institutions, a practical nurse education program through Lake Area Technical Institute, and a registered nurse education program through the University of South Dakota. In that role, Robin was my colleague for almost 18 years. We both moved in different directions, I to a new role at USD, and Robin to a nurse educator position at SDSU. And while she was teaching, she continued her education to pursue a doctorate in nursing, earning a PhD and the title Dr. Robin Brown. Professionally, Dr. Robin Brown is a nurse. And as a nurse, she is an educator for 32 years. She's a scientist, a researcher, a mentor, an advocate, a leader, a tenured professor, a writer, a speaker, a published author, a grantee with awards of over $1 million, an innovator, and a colleague. Personally, and most importantly, Dr. Brown is intelligent, kind, humble, honest, trustworthy, ethical, loyal. Robin is a wife to John, mother to Michael and Derek, grandmother to Willow and Indy, daughter to Irene and the late Glenn Lindblom, sister to Rita and Renee, auntie to numerous nieces and nephews. She is a fan of Tiger Woods, and she's a friend. And Dr. Robin Brown is now a Watchdog Hall of Fame inductee. Please welcome someone I admire and respect, my friend, Dr. Robin Brown.
Thank you, Ms. Larson. Dr. Brown, please come forward and receive your Watchdog. To present the Watchdog is Beresford School Board President, Ms. Deb Berglund.
Well, thank you, June, for all those kind words. And like June said, I don't think she brought that part out, but she was my boss all of those years. And was a very, very great mentor to me and taught me a lot about what it takes to be a good nurse educator. So I appreciate you doing that, June. It's been great to be back in Beersford and to be back in Watchdog territory because I have such fond memories of going to school in Beersford, and I'm so thankful for the great education that I received when I was here. I really feel I wouldn't be where I am today without that strong foundation that I received in Beersford. And when I went to SDSU as a freshman, I felt very well prepared to go to college because of all the education that I received at Beersford. And there's a lot of teachers that have made a lasting impact on me when I was in Beersford, but of course, the one teacher that stands out the most to me is Grace Kennedy. And I think she does to a lot of us. And even though I didn't pursue music in college, she taught me so much about the love of music, which I still have, and the importance of hard work. And I see Jane is here tonight, so you should be very proud of your mom. I also want to give a huge thank you to the committee for this honor and all the hard work that they have put into making this program a success. It has been quite a couple of days, starting with the parade and being able to ride in one of Jerry's Corvettes. It was a lot of fun. And I heard one of the cutest comments as my husband was the driver. And so we get off Main Street and we take a left to one of the side streets, and there was all these kids there, and one little boy yells out after he looked at the car, he says, "Are you rich?" Yes. No. So thank you, Jerry. Now we're all the kids in Beersford think I'm rich. So I thank Jerry for that. But I'm also very grateful to my family because I would never have gotten through all my years of school without a great support system and a lot of encouragement. And some of them are here tonight, including my husband, John, my son, Derek, and his wife, Haley. My mom is here also tonight, Irene. My two sisters, Rita and Renee, and their husbands, Rick and Doug. My other son was not able to be here. He lives clear in Bozeman, Montana, so he wasn't able to join us tonight. But the person that is not here tonight is my dad, and he probably had the most influence on me becoming a nurse. He told me that I would be a nurse ever since I was a young child. And I always told him, well, you know, there's a few other things maybe I'm thinking about doing, and he always would say, nope, you're gonna be a nurse. So I became a nurse. And I've never regretted that decision because my nursing profession has taken me in so many different directions, and I've loved all of them. So I'm glad I did become a nurse. So again, I just want to thank the committee for this honor and all the hard work that they've done, and I hope that God blesses you as much as He has blessed me. So thank you, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Mr. Ovi Hansen is a 1968 Beersford High School graduate. Mr. Hansen's musical talents are second to none, and he has played live shows with many mainstream acts. Tonight, to share more about Mr. Ovi Hansen is Ms. Cindy Kinsley.
Well, it's my absolute pleasure to be here tonight with all of you. When Obi asked me to do this, I was like, oh, you have to be kidding me. Anyway, so it's my honored to be introducing Obi Hansen, Hall of Fame in the arts area. Unfortunately, Obi is not here with us tonight. He made it all the way to Beersford here with his wife, Peggy, and his son, Jacob, but he is unfortunately very sick. They were able to take a message this morning for him. But when I look out at all of you, it's amazing. All of us sitting here, we're here supporting. We're the foundation of, I think, what the people are here tonight. If they were not their foundation, they've been supporters of us for various reasons. One thing Obi wrote in his bio, he said he credits his high school music teachers, Milo Winner, Grace Kennedy, who was one of my favorite teachers also, and Neil Jacobson for inspiring him to take his love of music seriously and to continue working and practicing. And I believe Obi embraced that himself throughout his career. I'd like to list all of Obi's accomplishments, but what I believe is even more important are all the students he has impacted throughout the years. Those students he inspired, and also all the colleagues that he made them better people too because of who he was. And of course, I was always very inspired by Obi. He inspired me for so many different reasons. And he brought that love of music to me too, along with the music teachers that I had while I was here at Beersford High School. And by the way, I graduated in 1984 from Beersford. And I also too want to also introduce the people that are here for Obi tonight. My sister, Chrissy Molinek, she's a graduate, 87. My mom is here, Obi's sister, Shirley Peterson, she's a 65 grad. And then a classmate of Obi's, there's several classmates of Obi's here tonight, but Linda Jampcard Cummings is also sitting with us tonight too. So very much appreciate that. But most importantly, Obi was the coolest uncle ever. But like I said, he passed on so many different traits, those leadership traits, to so many different people. And I just want to close by saying congratulations to all of you. And I think Obi in his bio said too, he made me feel like the sky was the limit. And I think he probably does that for a lot of other people too. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kinsley. Mr. Obi Hansen is not able to join us this evening. However, Obi has a message for us. Please direct your attention to the screen behind me.
Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry that I'm not there in person. It's very disappointing that this has happened. Thanks, Cindy, for introducing me. I appreciate that. Thanks to Dr. Deegan for all the work he's done, getting us here and dealing with the bumps in the road that I've thrown in the last few days. He's a real pleasant person to work with. Thanks to Victor McGill, who gave my name to the Hall of Fame committee, to the committee itself, which selected me. When I first heard about this, my first thought was, why me? There are so many talented musicians in my class. And I said this to one of my classmates a couple months ago, and she said, "No, but you kept at it." And I did do that. Whether it be playing with the Pacific Northwest Band Light Orchestra for 30 years, or occasionally substituting with a great orchestra like the Seattle Symphony, or doing odd little things like being on stage with Luciano Pavarotti, or meeting Tom Selleck backstage after a recording session with him. It's been a really varied existence. And like Peggy likes to say, it's been a real adventure. And I share this award with her totally, because without her, I would never have made it through these times. From the beginning, when we didn't really know what we were going to do next, until now it's kind of fun to spend more time together. Awards like this are really about our teachers. And I was lucky enough to have two of the greatest music teachers in South Dakota's history getting me started in music, Grace Kennedy and Milo Winter. I sang Mrs. Kennedy's choirs from before high school at the Emmanuel Lutheran Church. And during high school, and I even got to play with her when she was learning the organ at Emmanuel. It was fun to watch her learn something new. My parents liked to watch a show on television called Sing Along with Mitch, which was a television variety show which featured a men's chorus. And the conductor of that group, Mitch Miller, was also a well-known oboe player. One time on his show, he played the oboe, so I got to see and hear him play. And I was hooked. I told Mr. Winter that I'd like to learn the oboe, and he got me started with a borrowed oboe from the school that I never could have afforded on my own. Private lessons every week, which he gave to all of us because I knew the oboe was private. And then the schools afforded us the opportunity to come down during school and practice. So those three things really made a huge difference to get me started. I remember we must have taken practice pretty seriously because I remember the band room in high school, my freshman year of high school. There was that large classroom at the west end of the elementary school. And I remember the practice room was the storage closet next door where they kept blackboard erasers and chalk and things like that. I remember sitting in there next to Bill Henley, who was a senior practicing French horn. And I was sitting in practicing the oboe. And so it must have been quite a sound, but we must have been practicing pretty seriously. It wasn't too long before we had a new band room with 2 or 3 practice rooms. And that made a difference too. It was a wonderful school to have to give me a start in music. I'd like to dedicate this art to my classmates for their friendship and camaraderie during school and afterwards, and to our parents who gave us so much support, and to our teachers who put us on the path to our futures. Thank you. I wish I were there.
At this time, would Ovi's sister Shirley please come forward to receive the watchdog? To present Ovi's award is Mrs. Jane Carlson from the Beersford Area Arts. Mr. Ed Westberg is a 1961 Beersford High School graduate. Mr. Westberg is affectionately known in the community as Mr. Music. Tonight to share more about Mr. Ed Westberg is Mrs. Jane Carlson.
Good evening. Tonight, I have the privilege of introducing Hall of Fame inductee Ed Westberg, our own Mr. Music. Now, I wouldn't begin this way if I thought there was even a slight risk involved. But because I know there isn't, I'm going to go big. Would you please stand? And stand just for a moment if you've ever attended an event at which Ed Westberg sang. Kindness speaks for it, doesn't it? Ed, look around. Of course, Ed. You sing because you love music and you love to share your gift. And what you just saw is strong evidence of your success. But did you realize that at the same time your distinct, rich, and mellow voice was not only reaching ears, but it was touching hearts, upbeat hearts, while you performed with your friend Tubby, and joyful and grieving hearts, both. At each of the 450 plus weddings and funerals where you have provided music, 450 plus. And you touched the lonely and grateful hearts as you faithfully provided concerts, at least a dozen each month, to nursing homes for over 35 years. Through the familiarity of classics and hymns, and perhaps especially through your signature, I thank the Lord for everything, and I count my blessings each day. You maybe unlocked precious memories, if only for a moment. What a gift you gave that. Your music unites us. It connects people. Those that differ in age and vocation and interest and, yes, even politics. We're all tapping our toes and we're strumming our fingers and we're moving our lips, all in perfect unison to your music. Because music has the power to connect people at a much deeper level than speaking ever will. There's a catchphrase today that people like to ask. What's your why? They say, find your why. So what is it, Ed? What is it? Did your love for music grow out of a seed planted when your sister gifted you a guitar for your 11th birthday? Did that seed blossom as you sang in band and played in band and attended all-state chorus in high school? Was it fed when you sang in church choir, many barbershop groups, and performed for the BAA? Recently, I asked a very good friend who was celebrating her 50th wedding anniversary, who sang at your wedding? And her instant reply was, Eddie, of course. And it wasn't even 2 months ago when I heard you sing at a patriotic program just next door. And then tonight, here's Eddie. It would seem, Ed, that you have been singing ceaselessly for your entire life. My best guess is that your why is simply that you do what gives you great joy, and you do it masterfully. And through that, you inspire us to use the gifts we've been given without excuse. And you could have chosen to hide it under a bushel. But no, you let it shine. And for decades, you've shined all over Beersford. On behalf of this entire community, I want to thank you for using your gift for such wonderful good. Congratulations, Ed, on being inducted tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Carlson. Mr. Ed Westberg, please come forward to receive your watchdog. To present the watchdog is Mrs. Jane Carlson from the Beersford Fine Arts.
you, Jane. I'll take back what I said about you. Might something we have to look to. But, yes, I feel I was blessed in many ways. My sisters, I had 4 sisters. They all had a brother. And unfortunately, one of my sisters, Tess, passed away 5 years ago. My other 3 sisters are here. I own Arlene, Nell, and I loved all my sisters, no matter what they said about me. And when we were young, we started out young. We sang a lot together. My dad almost went up until he passed away. I don't think we got together after that, 5 of us, but we would sing. And he wanted us to sing in church, and it was so much fun singing with him. And I guess another blessing I had is my mother. I blessed both my dad and mother. We were fortunate to have the parents we had. My mother was a musician. She insisted that we start taking piano lessons in the 1st grade, and I hated it. But unfortunately, my piano instructor retired after about the 4th or 5th grade, so I didn't have to do any more. But it taught me music. I still go in chord on the piano, but I'm not a piano player, but it taught me music and made me interested in music. Daisy Dewey, Miss Dewey, was a piano teacher. She had no sense of humor. She always talked about the 3 B's, Bach, Beethoven, Brahms. And I told her not that, it was Buddy Knox, Buddy Holly, the Everly Brothers. Just did not get along with that. And they talked about, she talked to me about Tubby and I. And 40 years we played different things. Played for dances for 20-some years. Played for church services, played for parties. Never had a disagreement, never had an argument. We had a good time. And I could write a book on what things I saw at dances. I mean, I even had a woman ask me to marry her. And I couldn't turn her down. But music has been a big part of my life, no question about it. I love it. And I love all kinds of music. Of course, I started out with rock and roll. And the reason I got interested in playing is my sister, Carly, and I used to be down in the basement washing eggs so we could take them up to Carlson's produce. We got them cleaned up. She'd have the radio on, and I heard Elvis Presley singing, and I just had to do that. So even though the story says that she bought the guitar, we bought it together. We bought called a Stella. When I was 11 years old, we each threw in $10 for the guitar. And you wonder where I got $10 at 11, but I started at 4-H when I was 9, so that was from a program for selling of it. But that's where I started, and I did start in the basement and taught myself how to play the guitar. The book I bought, you probably sue me today because it says 5 minutes guitar lesson. It's not 5 minutes how to learn to play the guitar. Well, everybody knows better than that. But it was been fun, and I think I've been so blessed in my life. Not only, well, they talked about the music teachers. Yes, I had Mile Winner, and I had Grace Kennedy, and they were very good. And I thought they helped. And Marianne and I feel very fortunate the families we've had. We got there, and we enjoy them all, and enjoy my sisters, their families, and it's just been a fun life, and I've enjoyed it. But I keep on singing no matter what.
Thank you, Mr. Westford. Mr. David Dolan is a 1977 graduate of Richmond High School. Mr. Dolan is an accomplished coach and official who has received local, state, and national honors. Tonight, to share more about Mr. David Dolan is Ms. Deb Bergley.
It is with great pleasure that I have the honor to share a little about the 2023 Watchdog Hall of Fame inductee for athletics, David Dolan. I have known David all my life, as he is my older and much wiser brother. He is an older brother whom all of my other siblings and I have always looked up to. David's involvement in athletics began at a very young age while growing up in Beersford. He was a multi-sport athlete for the Beersford Watchdogs and moved on to a collegiate football career for the University of South Dakota Coyotes. David's involvement in athletics didn't stop with being an athlete. He became a teacher, coach, basketball official, and mentor. He has had a positive impact on those with whom he has had the opportunity to teach, coach, and mentor. Throughout his teaching and coaching career, David has received recognition for his dedication and service to sports in South Dakota. He has also received many honors at the local, state, and national levels. David has been and continues to be an advocate for enhancing athletic opportunities in the state of South Dakota. David is a man of great character and a role model for others. On behalf of our family, I want to say how proud we are of all that you have accomplished, and congratulations on being inducted into the Watchdog Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Ms. Bergman. Mr. David Dolan, please come forward and receive your watchdog. To present the watchdog is Booster Club member and school board member Ashley Sharp.
Yes, I just want to say that is one of my favorite songs, What God Bless the USA, because I believe strongly in that. And thank you. That was a great way to start out my night tonight. The other one is Cool in the Game. I celebrate my Cool in the Game, so thanks. Deb, thank you for that introduction. Appreciate it. Thanks for the Hall of Fame committee for seeing me or inducting me into the Hall of Fame tonight. We say it takes a village to raise a child. I've had the opportunity to visit a state that has actually helped me get to where I'm at today. Not just the city and community of Beersford, but across the state with the people that I've been able to interact with. And amazingly enough, a lot of them started, and I talk about, there's the world, and then it all revolves around Beersford. Because no matter where I go, something actually connects back to Beersford. I look at Milo Winter, who's also on the Black Hills. I see him periodically, even now at this age, I think in the last couple of years, skiing up at Cherry Peak. I've enjoyed everything that I've done. I have had the opportunity to teach, coach, and officiate in the Black Hills for over 40 years. But first and foremost, I have to thank God for all the blessings that He's given me and the challenges that He put in front of me, because not everything was always easy. Thank you to my beautiful wife, Kim, who's here. 41 years, I love you, dear. It has been 41 or 43 probably since we were dating for a couple years before that beautiful years. Because being a wife of a teacher, coach, and official, there's a lot of away nights, a lot of night things, a lot of weekends that take a lot of time. My three children, Ashley and her husband Josh and Tucker and Nolan are here tonight. They're the ones running around in and out. So my son Matt and Leah, they're in Buffalo, New York, and their daughter Rena. And then my son Steve and Alyssa, and their sons Errol, Bowen, Huntley, and Rennie. You may notice a theme there. A huge thank you. Say that again, dear. I did. Errol, girl, okay. I guess it could be either, that's true. So, a huge thank you to basically the two people that started the foundation for my family and siblings, was my mom and dad. They put forth the things, the love and support for all of us. I don't know if they ever missed an event that any of us went to, and it may meant longer days for them, shorter nights, But my family's here. My mom's sitting right down here, 89. She's still involved in the foundation, Beersford Foundation. The one bad thing I learned from her is that I don't know how to say no. I seem to be on more boards than anything across the state, and I need to just step away from a few of those right now. But my brother J.K. and his wife Karen are here, sister Ann and her husband Darnell, Ellen, my sister Ellen and her husband Tom couldn't make it tonight, Deb, who introduced me, and her husband Dan, and Sarah and her husband Brad. If Sarah would have been a boy, we'd have been the Brady Bunch. I just want to go on record as repeating that again. They laid the foundation for God, family, and friends, a hard work ethic, and a drive to be involved in community and service of others. I believe that being a good leader is by serving others. There's a lot of people that I have as mentors and guidance, as well as head coaches and assistant coaches, that all wanted the same thing, and it was the success of our athletes across the board at Rapid City Central. The one that got me, just where I talk about a small world, the one that got me an interview out in Rapid City was Lillian, I believe, Larson. Her name, when I knew her, was Lillian Hybertson. She was the secretary to the superintendent out there, and I think my dad made a call, and I got an interview and got the job. So from there on, it was down, or it was all uphill from there. I love the community of Black Hills, and I guess I've retired there twice, so I'll stay. The coaches that had a big impact on me were Jim Herron, Jim Sorensen, Jim Bath, Ed Evanson. But amazingly enough, the other lady that had a big impact on me was Grace Kennedy. Because she challenged me to do things that were not in my comfort zone. Sports were easy, but being in a musical, singing in Boys Glee, in the mixed chorus, and doing those things, she got me out of my comfort zone, and I thank her greatly for that. She was an inspiration. I had John Fritch at the University of South Dakota as an offensive line coach. And then John Hushka, who was the head track coach at Rapid City Central, and I was his assistant. And then we switched roles. I was the head coach, and he was my assistant. We did that for about 38 years. And his son-in-law is Steve Moore from Beersford. So as a coach, I always tried to find the positives. I loved what I did, and I went to school every day. I didn't go to work. Most of all, I showed I cared. The word coach is a term of respect. Only time will tell the impact that I've had, or that's been involved in what I've done throughout the course of my career out in Rapid City, and all the people and the activities that I have come into contact with. There are people that call me coach out in Rapid City. I've gotten involved in a few community things. They call me coach. When I come into a room or a community event and say, "Hey, coach, how you doing?" And I may not have even coached them. I look at that as a term that is with a lot of respect from other people. I've had the opportunity to coach some of the best athletes in the country, in professional sports. I've refereed some of the best, but I've also coached and refereed some of those that were just happy to be on the team. I tried to treat everybody with respect and cared about them. When there was tragedy that occurred, I usually got a phone call, wherever that was at. Could be a car accident went on. Could be a tragedy where someone decided to hurt themselves. Get a call, go to the hospital, day or night. Even to this day and age, as I've retired, they still make those phone calls. In officiating, there were a lot of people that helped me to move on. I had the opportunity to do a lot of state tournaments and a lot of championship games. Probably the only city, because Jim couldn't get it to happen back then, when Jim Sorensen was going to have me referee a basketball game way back then. It never happened because the weather was so bad in February. The one thing I'd like to do is I'd like to close with a tribute. It's called a tribute. It's something that we do each and every year at our National Coaches Convention. And share this thought with you as far as what we do as teachers and coaches and the impact we have on communities. I am thousands of souls who have spanned 40 plus years of time. I am the child who thought I couldn't make it, the one who wasn't big enough, tall enough, or fast enough. I am the one you encouraged, you disciplined, you worked with, teaching me the important lessons of life. I grew to be an All-American, All-State, All-Conference, and at your insistence, All-Academic. I was there for the state tournament, conference championships, numerous victories. You were there for the tough defeats. I learned your lessons, and now I am doctor, farmer, mother, father. I am the parent of the next generation. I teach your lessons so that on the field of life, my children may be touched by your hand, your life. I am the one who grew with you, fought for you, prayed for you, loved you. Now you live on in me. I am your player. You are my coach. Signed, all of us you impacted. Thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Dolan. The 1956 football team reminds us that a champion's legacy withstands the test of time. Tonight we will watch a short clip about the 1956 football team. After the clip, Mr. Owen Ronaldo will share a few words about the team's legacy. The Watchdog Hall of Fame Steering Committee and Subcommittee would like to take a moment to thank Mrs. Diane Nielsen for her efforts to create the video, conduct research, and interview former players. Mrs. Nielsen, thank you for your efforts. In Mrs. Nielsen's words, putting together this tribute was a labor of love and an honor to recognize the players. As anyone who coaches, plays, or follows sports, we know that in addition to coaching, talented players, and hard work, there is always an element of luck involved and sometimes a little magic. The fall of 1956 was one of those times for Beersford. The players who are still with us from this team are in their 80s now. Some of them are here and some could not make the trip. We have some players here to represent the team along with their family members. We are privileged to induct all of you into the class of 2023 Beersford Watchdog Hall of Fame.
In the 1950s, there were only two classes of football, A and B. The top 32 teams in the state were in Class A. Beersford was number 32 for years, the smallest Class A school. State football tournaments did not start until the 1980s in South Dakota. Ranks were determined by weekly sports writer polls. Canton and Beersford went back and forth between number 1 and number 2 all season long. Two prep gridiron squads met at Beersford Friday night, and the clap of shoulder pads could be heard throughout the Big 8 Conference. Undefeated Canton visited undefeated Beersford.
Roger Brand was the coach. He was a big football coach. Started the fourth quarter, Canton scored, and then, like I said, it was seconds ticking away. We drove down to, I think, around the 9-yard line. Jim Ronan was the quarterback. Jim Ronan threw a pass. And I don't know if he threw the pass to Simons or what, but it got deflected twice. One by the intended receiver, the next by the defensive guy, and then it fell into the hands of Joe Thorne, who went over on the goal line for score. And then Jim Ronan also kicked the extra point, which tied it up. And then I think it's 4 or 5 seconds later the game ended. And that was the toughest game.
Tonight we have the distinguished privilege of honoring a football team that not only was wildly successful on the field, but also instrumental in building the culture and laying the foundation for what it means to be a Beersford football player for generations going forward, and a tradition that still continues to this day. I would ask the families and friends of the 1956 football team to come forward and accept the Watchdog, tonight being presented by Booster Club member and school board member Ashley Sharp.
This year, the Distinguished Service Subcommittee and the Steering Committee felt it was important to recognize the public service of our community members to the Beersford School District. The committee felt it was imperative that we recognize multiple individuals and not just one board member. Why? Well, a school board is a collection of public servants whose impact and action happen with motions, votes, and board action. Board members are elected officials who represent their constituents. They take input from a variety of perspectives. They act based on the information they have and make decisions for the present and for the future. Effective board leadership makes a school district thrive. Tonight, to speak about the leadership of our inductees, will be past superintendents, Mr. Cortland Carnes and Mr. Brian Field. Tonight, to share more about Mr. Robert Kennedy and Mr. Gordon Tornberg is Mr. Cortland Carnes.
You get to a certain age and you no longer want to go on stairs. The early 1970s were a very difficult time for the Beersford School District and the community. However, they had a couple of things that were going in their favor: an excellent teaching staff and great coaches. Here are a few of the items that the school board had to deal with. All of the kindergarten through the 3rd grade classes were being housed in church basements all over town. Several lawsuits dealing with the building issue and the finance issues were there. Board meetings in general were not positive events. I remember a meeting in the old gym that covered over 400 people in attendance, along with several attorneys. We began tape recording the school board meetings. The positive leadership of 3 board members during this difficult time. Ed Westberg was the vice president for most of those years. Gordy Tornberg was the chairman for some of the early years. And Bob Kennedy was the chairman for most of those 1970 years. Here are the positive results that came out of the 1970s. A classroom building was built in 1976. The gymnasium and balcony wrestling area in 1978. The track and football complex in 1979 and 1980. This school district and this community needs to give these 3 board members a very special thank you. Please give them your round of applause.
Thank you, Dr. Dagan and Mr. Klein. Mr. Bob Kennedy, please come forward to receive your watchdog. To present the watchdog is Dustin Dagan from the Beersford School District.
Thank you, Cortland and Dusty, for that kind introduction. I want to convey to everyone how honored I am to receive this recognition and induction into the Watchdog Hall of Fame. I am grateful for the opportunity to have served the students, their families, and the Beersford community during my tenure on the school board during the 70s and 80s. During this time, the board was challenged with the issue of increased class sizes, overcrowded facilities. As board president, I worked with Superintendent Cortland Carnes, fellow board members, including Ed Westberg and Gordon Torber, and the community to bring about a new elementary athletic complex, track and football field. Since then, hundreds of Beersford students have walked the halls of what was then elementary school, and today is your junior high and high school students have studied. Who have studied and learned to play and compete in these facilities, and will for years to come. I'm grateful to have played a role in the history of my alma mater and my community. I pray God's blessings on the current students of the Beersford schools and yet those yet to attend. May God richly bless each of you. I want to thank Beersford Hall of Honor Committee, the school and district, the Watchdog Foundation, area arts and athletic boosters for recognizing this unique time in Beersford's history and those who are part of it. As a proud alumnus of Beersford High School, I'm humbled and honored to accept this award.
Thank you. Mr. Gordon Tornberg, please come forward and receive your watchdog. To present the watchdog is Dustin Dagan from the Beersford School Board.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michelle Torberg Andrews. My job is the family, and I thank you so much for the opportunity to get to speak to my Grandpa Gordon. We call him Grandpa Gordon. I'm Michelle, the daughter of Mike and Ann Tornberg. My great-grandpa, Oscar Tornberg, Gordon's father, was also on the school board and helped build part of the North Campus School, where I currently teach 5th grade. Oscar's name is on the placard outside the door of the North Campus gym, and I make sure that my elementary students get a chance to see it every year and touch it every day. Grandpa Oscar believed that all students deserve an education. And even though Oscar and his wife Lillian had 7 kids of their own at the time, and one on the way, Uncle Larry, Oscar saw a need for serving the community and thinking about the future. And that future meant me and a lot of my family here in Beersford. Gordon, Grandpa, helped build what is now the middle school high school. And Grandpa's name, Gordon Tornberg, is on the plaque that's outside of the current middle school, high school office hallway. Grandpa often comes to many events for my 2 daughters that are in high school and we are able to see that together and have a moment together. Grandpa also worked with the school board to purchase the land that's now the football stadium right over here. And what a full circle moment for Grandpa to receive recognition at the football game last night. He stayed a lot longer than I wanted to as it started raining, but he's a pure watchdog. Even though Gordon, Grandpa, and his wife, who watches over us and we'll see again in heaven someday, Grandma Liddell, as we call her Grandma Butter, they were running a dairy farm and raising 7 kids of their own during this time that Grandpa served on the school board. Mike and Steve are here this evening, and everyone else is watching from afar. Mike, Steve, Connie, Bruce, Susie, Marlene, and Randy. And Gordon, like his father, Oscar, felt the calling to serve his community and also serve on the school board. Countless hours in session and behind the scenes. And if I thought some of the school board meetings in the last few years in the gym, I can't imagine 400 people and what you described, Cortland. Grandpa's given me a lot of advice over the years, and I'm proud to say that as a Tornberg, all of my aunts and uncles and my dad have served on several boards, including farmers union boards, including church councils, not just school boards, but all kinds of business boards. And Grandpa gives us a lot of good advice, like all grandpas do, whether you're waiting for it or not. Here's some of the stuff he's told me from over the years, just a few things. First, Grandpa says that if you don't agree, right, Grandpa, and the vote doesn't go your way, if you're in the minority, make it your job to make and see it through. Don't dwell that you were the one or the few that weren't with the majority. Do the work happily and move on and make it your will. Second, Grandpa talks a lot about buying locally. Do whatever you can, even if it's lumber or light bulbs. Get pencils or papers, if you can, buy locally. And most importantly, talk to people. Relationships really do matter, no matter what kind of council or board you're sitting on. Talk in person, invite people to your home, and I think we've lost that in these days, myself included. Really listen and find a compromise, don't just think about what you're going to say next. And of course, if you believe in something and something must be done or undone, do something about it. That's the best advice, I think, that comes from Grandpa. They're going to call you ornery while you do it, right, Grandpa? But they're going to appreciate it when that work gets done. There's a lot more advice I could share from over the years, but above all, I think find a good partner, and I saw that in my grandma and grandpa. Oscar Tornberg had Lillian while he served on the board, and Grandpa Gordon had our grandma Liddell. In 1951, Gordon married Liddell, who was also a citizen of Beersford, and they were high school sweethearts. Their union of 68 years, and 7 children later, 19 grandchildren, some are with us tonight and watching afar, and great-grandchildren who are here with us tonight and from afar too, 31 great-grandchildren. Grandpa's 93 years in counting, but you wouldn't know. After all the fun at the homecoming parade and out on the track, Grandpa's been a proud member of the Beersford community all 93 years. I love you, Grandpa. Congratulations, we're so proud of you, and congratulations on being part of the Beersford Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to share about Mrs. Susan Christensen, we welcome former Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Brian Field, to the podium.
Good evening. It is an honor to speak on behalf of and introduce Mrs. Sue Christensen for induction to the Watchdog Hall of Fame Distinguished Service Pillar. After graduating from the University of South Dakota in 1984 with a degree in recreational therapy, Sue began her career at Woodfield Center in Beersford, implementing adventure-based programs aligned with adolescents' treatment goals. In 1991, Sue joined Sioux Valley Hospital, now Sanford Medical Center, as a recreational therapist. Sue then advanced to management at Sanford and currently serves as Director of Therapy and Rehabilitation, overseeing multiple departments, disciplines, and locations, working with and leading over 250 members of a diverse healthcare team. For over 20 years, Sue's leadership at Sanford has allowed her to travel the world as an accreditation surveyor with the Commission for Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities, using her expertise to apply industry-developed standards for rehabilitation programs on this person-centered care and quality. I've been blessed to have known Sue and her family for just over 20 years. I was first introduced to Sue at the Associated School Boards of South Dakota and School Administrators of South Dakota Joint Convention in August of 2002 when I became the new high school principal at Beersford. I was fortunate to be a beneficiary of Sue's leadership and service during my time as both the high school principal and superintendent at Beersford. Sue served on the Beersford School Board for 12 years, 2001 to 2013. She served as board president for 10 years, 2003 to 2013. She was an outstanding school board member and board president. Immediately and throughout her years of service to the district, I was most impressed with Sue's compassion for all students and commitment to making sound decisions in the best interest of all students and their learning. She was very passionate about student learning, the importance of co-curricular activities, and making sure we had a high-quality staff working with our district's children. Sue and the board were committed to allocating dollars that provided quality professional development activities and advanced learning opportunities for all staff. During Sue's time as board president, the board and admin team engaged in book reads for continuing professional development. One philosophy Sue, the board, and admin team believed in wholeheartedly was in Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. One of the things we've learned in all of our research is that it all begins with people. Great vision without great people is irrelevant. Get the right people on the bus and the right people in the key seats before we figure out where to drive the bus. During Sue's 12 years on the Beersford School Board, there were challenges, but also opportunities and great accomplishments, including some of the following. The district transitioned to all-day, everyday kindergarten, transitioned from a junior high to a middle school, experienced and overcame numerous budget challenges, including a historic 8.6% cut in the K-12 education formula in South Dakota, worked through and had several successful and unchallenged opt-outs, hired 3 superintendents and 3 business managers, developed a strategic plan for the district as well as a 10-year plan for capital outlay for facility additions, improvements, and equipment upgrades. Improved the district's technology infrastructure and placed the best technology tools in the hands of its students to increase learning opportunities and to staff to enhance the classroom instruction process. Expanded the elementary lobby and commons, renovated the track and field complex, added to the South Campus, the restroom room, coach's office, officials room, and a storage room addition, revised the district's entire board policy manual, established the Watchdog Foundation as a permanent endowment fund that provides innovative education grants to teachers beyond the scope of the regular school budget, and worked through the implementation of No Child Left Behind, state accreditation, and national advanced ed accreditation. Not only was Sue committed to her role on the Beersford School Board, she was passionate about her community and church as well. Sue served on multiple boards and councils, including the South Dakota Parks and Recreation Board, the Emmanuel Lutheran Church Council, the National Multiple Sclerosis Board of Directors, the Watchdog Foundation Board of Directors, and served as a regional director for the Associated School Boards of South Dakota's Executive Board. Sue and her husband David were blessed with 2 daughters. Their oldest daughter, Jessica, is a 2012 Beersford High School graduate. Their youngest daughter, Shanna, was born with developmental delays. Shanna passed away in 2007 at the age of 10. Sue's love of cycling and her history of helping others heal through leisure pursuits provided a catalyst to launch a fund established in Shanna's memory. With proceeds from the Tri-County Bike Tour, the Shanna Ray Christensen Memorial Scholarship Fund was established in 2009 as a sub-fund of the Beersford Ray Foundation and is managed by the South Dakota Community Foundation in Pierre. Sue, her husband Dave, daughter Jessica, their family and friends worked tirelessly to make this a successful event for over a decade. The first scholarship was awarded in 2011. Since then, $19,450 has been awarded to 37 Beersford High School seniors. This scholarship is awarded to a graduating senior whose intended plan of study is special education, nursing, or disciplines within physical medicine and rehabilitation. The Watchdog Foundation implemented and it has an application process and selection process each spring with students receiving their scholarship in time for the fall semester. The Tri-County Bike Tour was an annual event until 2020. The fund has now reached a sustainable level and will continue to support Beersford High School students into the future for many years. Sue, on behalf of the Beersford School District and community of Beersford, thank you for your passion, dedication, loyalty, service, leadership, professionalism, and for always serving with dignity. You are the epitome of a school and community leader. Congratulations on your well-deserved induction to the 2023 Watchdog Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Mr. Field. At this time, would Mrs. Susan Christensen please come forward to receive your watchdog? To present the watchdog is Dustin Dagan from the Beersford School District.
Dr. Brown, I think you got the wrong car. I should have been in the Corvette. Just saying, I think I'll have to give Jerry's a call. Brian, thank you for the kind introduction. We should have compared notes because I'm going to say a few things that you did, so I apologize for the repetition. But Brian, it was a privilege to serve on the school board during your tenure. Your vision and leadership consistently guided the board in each idea or decision that we faced. Mr. Kennedy, Mr. Thornburg, it's indeed an honor to be included in the Watchdog Hall of Fame School Board representatives with you. Your vision and leadership set a solid infrastructure and a solid foundation for future boards to work on. So thank you for your service to the district. I also want to express gratitude to the Beersford community for allowing me the opportunity to serve on the board. I was fortunate to work with incredible school administrators and really strong community leaders, as well as I served alongside several passionate, strong fellow school board members who, no matter the topic, we really worked hard to put the child and the educator who would serve in the classroom at the forefront of that discussion. I'd like to think we achieved that more than we didn't. During my 12 years, we did indeed face many challenges, but we set forth many positive ones as well. One of those is the Watchdog Foundation. When Mr. Field approached the board with this idea, we wholeheartedly decided to explore it. Established in 2009, this is where it gets a little repetitive, so I apologize. But the Watchdog Foundation is guided by a volunteer board, not the school board, and was initiated to enhance educational opportunities for the school district where school finances may have fallen short. The foundation provides innovative teaching grants, special programs, and mini grants. These grants are solely funded by generous donations. The foundation board also has oversight of the scholarship in memory of our daughter, Shannon. Scholarships are awarded to high school seniors whose intended area of study is education, medicine, or any of the rehabilitative therapies. Because during Shannon's short life, she required the services of many in those fields. Her first speech therapist is with us tonight, Mrs. Sally Dolan. Thank you, Sally, for being there for Dave and I.
She was a beautiful, beautiful son.
Thank you. You were there when we began to navigate Words of 3, IFSPs, IEPs, and all the transitions within. And it was a daunting time for us, but it was comforting to have you, a familiar face with us. Your program outlines there have been 37 recipients of her scholarship since 2011. So in preparation for tonight, I reached out to all of them, and I'm actually preparing an article for the Fall Watchdog Foundation newsletter. I reached out to each one to find out where life and their studies have taken them. You'll have to read the fall newsletter to get all the details. Got a plug in for Dr. Dagan. Should I ask for donations now too? Okay. But here's a few things I found out. Of the 37, over 75% responded back. Many expressed again their gratitude for the financial assistance. The majority stayed within their intention, are in healthcare or in education. There are several nurses, speech therapists, one just entering physical therapy school, a research assistant, nutritionist, a physician, finishing up residency in emergency medicine as well as family medicine, and a dental assistant. The dental assistant, she actually apologized to me for replying late to my inquiry because she just returned from Peru, where she and a team of dentists and other assistants provided dental care to the underserved population there. Her apology was not necessary. There are teachers in special education, physical education, coaches, K through 12 educators who some are just beginning their studies or their career, while others are pursuing a master's. Of the few who are still in school, some are working in preschools or after-school programs to gain valuable experience with children. Of course, there are a few, or a couple, in their own words, that told me, I'm trying to figure out my next steps. And I responded, that's okay, so am I. The young men and women who receive Shannon Scholarship are making a difference. And although just a subset of the school, I believe represent all graduates of Beersford High School. The achievements heard here tonight are evidence of that. This school district provides students an educational foundation that prepares them for the next step. Whether their past is post-secondary school or technical schools, or if they're just ready to step into the workforce, this school district provides that. We should all be proud of it. In closing, I want to thank the Watchdog Hall of Fame for this honor. I am truly humbled by the recognition because there are many deserving people in this community. I want to thank my family and my friends for your presence tonight, your love and support always. I could not do this life without you. Special thank you to my husband Dave and daughter Jessica for enduring those long school board nights and special meetings that took me away from home. And finally, I need to thank Shanna. She taught me depths of patience and unconditional love I never knew existed within me, but that needed to be nudged. And believe me when I tell you, that patience came in handy many a school board night. Again, thank you, and have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Christensen. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Dagan to the stage for his closing remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for our 6th Watchdog Hall of Fame event. To help keep this tradition moving forward, we do need your assistance. We would love for you to think about individuals or teams that have embodied greatness or embody greatness today and help us fill out nomination forms. You'll find a sample nomination form in your program, and they're also found online. The more nominations we have, the harder decisions that the committees have to make makes this nice a possibility. I would also like to take another chance to thank the following partnering groups that helped make this event happen. It's the Beersford Athletic Booster Club, Beersford Area Arts, the Watchdog Foundation, and the Beersford School District. Watchdog Nation, please feel free to remain and enjoy the evening in a social setting. And to our Hall of Fame inductees, we want to take more pictures of you. So after the program, we will have you by the backdrop, and our photographer will work with you for individual and family shots. To end our evening, would you all please stand as you are able as we play the school song.